Hello, my royal lovelies. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, welcome to my home. Today, we are going to be talking about a few royal stories, including ones with Harry and Meghan. Yes, that duo, they never tire of being the cause of controversy, do they? But also, at the top of this video, I want to say a very fabulous happy 36th birthday to Princess Beatrice, and we'll go straight there and do that now before we move on to the dastardly duo. So Sarah Ferguson, who goes by the account Sarah Ferguson 15 on Instagram, shared a beautiful post of a picture of mother and daughter. I'll pop that on the screen with a lovely, typically Sarah gushing statement. So happy birthday, my wonderful Beatrice. You are the most amazing daughter, mother, stepmother, sister, wife, and woman. I feel so privileged to be able to learn from you every day. You continue to inspire me and those around you with your warmth, curiosity, and zest for life. I love you. Happy birthday. What a lovely post. I mean, you know, yeah, it's lovely. It really is. And, that bond between mother and daughter, and mother and both daughters as well. Both of the princesses have turned out to be really well-adjusted young women, young women. Well, I say young women. I mean, they're in they're in the mid-30s now. So, can we still call them young women? I think we can. I think we can. But they are gorgeous. They are dutiful. They know their place. They have always had to exist between a rock and a hard place, really, because unlike the decision that Princess Anne took not to give her children titles and styles when Her late Majesty offered them, because of course, as children of a blood princess, Princess Anne's children were not automatically entitled to a style or a title. One was offered by Her late Majesty. Princess Anne turned it down because she thought that they would be better unencumbered by royal titles and styles. I think she was correct because, Peter and Zara have been able to go off and make their own money, make their own living, and not face as much criticism as what, for example, the titled royals have. So they have been generally unencumbered by those royal titles. Princess Louise and, of course, Prince James. Technically, they are prince. I'm using their correct terminology because they haven't taken up those styles and titles. Of course, I'm talking the children of the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Lady Louise and James, Earl of Wessex. Technically, they are prince and princess. This doesn't have to be applied for. This can actually just be adopted by them. The only thing that they have to do if they want to use those titles is actually start to use them. Beatrice and Eugenie do have their styles and titles and have had from birth. And they, like I say, they've been in between a rock and a hard place. They're criticised if they do this, criticised if they do that. But largely, they have kept their heads down. They have regular jobs. They haven't done Netflix or Spare. They haven't written a book or done a tell-all or anything of that nature. They've been very dutiful to the crown. And I think we saw that when Harry and Meghan left. I mean, I definitely think, Princess Eugenie has, kept probably more so than Princess Beatrice from what we could see, has probably kept a bit more in with Harry and Meghan, but very low key. We do not know what information Princess Eugenie may be or may not be passing on to Harry and Meghan. There's no evidence that they are passing on information. The only thing that we do kind of see from time to time is, stuff leaking from the Sussex camp with regards to kind of what's going on in the royal family. Things that only people perhaps within the family or within the royal household may be party to. So we have to kind of keep our minds open to, how information does get back to Harry and Meghan. But there are a variety of ways. Let's not just put the blame on Princess Eugenie without evidence. There are so many different contacts that Harry will still have within the walls of the palace. Remember, walls have ears, and especially with in royal courts, the royal courtiers are the eyes and ears and sometimes the mouthpieces of what goes on. So there are many ways that information could get back to Harry and Meghan. Do you think that they have spies planted in the royal household? Do let me know. Um, but yes, a really happy 36th birthday to Princess Beatrice. I hope she has an amazing day. She's probably spending it at home privately and having a good old time with family. So, yes, I wish her a very happy birthday. Now, let's get on to Eric Trump. Now, it's not often we talk about any of the Trumps on this channel, but occasionally the sort of royals and the Trumps paths cross. Of course, we had when President Trump was active president. I don't know what the current president. He visited the UK on a non sort of state visit, and then a bit more of a formal occasion. He visited Windsor. He met with Her late Majesty. And one thing I will say about Donald Trump is that he does have an affinity with the UK. He has Scottish roots. And I think he's always been, I suppose, a supporter, I think, of monarchy. Now, of course, he had a few faux pas when he met the Queen. He walked in front of her. I mean, these things, I commented on them at the time, so I'm not going to go into them now. So a few faux pas, but I think on the whole he is in favour of the monarchy. I think he respects it, and I think he's always been, I suppose, amenable to Britain. So regardless of what goes on in the elections, I'm not making this political. I'm just talking about what is going on. So Eric Trump, of course, Donald's son. And also Donald himself has made comments in the past about Harry and Meghan. Not very favourable ones, because of course Meghan started the spat with with the Donald, didn't she? Of course, when she called him names. Did she do it on the social media or her blog? I forget. I'm sure one of you will remind me. But she made disparaging comments about Donald. And the one thing about the Trumps are that they do stick together. And it seems like she has caught the wrath of Eric. So, what has he been saying? Eric Trump has branded Prince Harry and Meghan Markle spoiled apples. I mean, I'd go one further and say they were rotten to the core, my lovies, and echoed his father's claims that the Duke of Sussex could be deported if he wins the presidential election. Well, I mean, that is a bold statement to make, because, of course, let's look realistically. I think a lot of people would like to see Harry deported. I mean, it would be a bit more difficult to deport Meghan, because you can't deport her to somewhere where she's not a citizen. So, I think Meghan's citizenship within the UK within the US is pretty safe. I mean, it would be a major punishment from her side to send her back to the UK, wouldn't it, from her point of view? But Harry, his immigration status is not 100% settled, we don't think. I mean, we don't know what type of visa he has. We think he's on some kind of special visa that bypasses certain rules and regulations. So we don't know, what terms he is on. But technically, I suppose he could be deported if he meets with, certain criteria that apply to people being deported. And I don't know what they are without looking them up. I'm sure people know a little bit more about it than I do. So if you do, please let me know. On what basis could Harry potentially be deported? But regardless of whether or not he ever would be deported, what I think is key to this is that Harry and Meghan do not have the support of the Trumps. I think when we look at Kamala Harris, Meghan's been brown nosing Kamala Harris for years, and Kamala's said some gushing things about Meghan. We'll take a look at some of those of what she said over the years. But I think it's a tale of two halves. If Kamala Harris gets in, things will be favourable, we assume, towards Harry and Meghan. If Donald Trump gets in, then we think, if this is anything to go by, then, things are looking to be a little bit less favourable. So I think Meghan needs to be very careful what she says. I mean, she can't erase what she said in the past, but she does like to poke the bear, doesn't she? And sometimes when she pokes too hard, it comes around, turns round, and it bites her on the bottom, doesn't it? It bites her on the backside. Just as she's had PR disasters with everything that's been going on since they stepped back from full-time royal duties. They thought that everything was going to go all rosy and be all sunny and lovely, and they thought that people would love the fact that they were, basically obliterating, harpooning Harry's family. And there's a certain section of society that do support them. The Sussex Squad, evil, horrible people who delight in um, people. They delight in conflict, is what I'm going to say. They're happy when Harry and Meghan are sort of uh, almost divorced from Harry's family, divorced from her father's side of the family. They delight in that, and they can't possibly see that this is actually a bad thing. Being on these bad terms with your family is not good. It's not good for yourself. It's not good for your own soul, and it's not good for your children. Lilibet and Archie. Let's not even go there on whether they exist or not. I know there's huge amounts of people that even still to this day are doubting the legitimacy and the, you know, whether they actually exist in the first place. So I'm not going to touch on that. People are going to have their own opinions, fake moon bumps. I mean, it was very curious. I've seen the clips. I was there at the time. I've even put videos out where this bump seems to kind of crumple in weird places, and she's doing weird things. It is very, very curious, and this ongoing thought regarding surrogacy. Did Meghan actually carry children? Um, is still an ongoing thing, and all the secrecy surrounding Archie and Lilibet's birth, and in particular Archie. It all just goes to fuel that level of speculation. Anyway, they always bring it on themselves, and they've just had from bad PR to bad PR to bad PR, and they do themselves absolutely no favors, including the latest CBS interview that obviously I reported on in the previous video. There's a fly buzzing around me. It's really hot in here in the UK, and there's all bugs everywhere. We don't have fly screens in the UK. Anyway, we hardly have need for them, my lovies. So, CBS did them no favors. There is this really funny picture going around. It is a photoshopped picture, but where like Meghan's hand is put on Harry's mouth to silence him, which I think, although that is a fake photo, you cannot imagine it being too far from the truth. I mean, I'm sure Harry had a good talking to from Meghan about what to say, what not to say, when to keep his mouth shut. Just stand there and well, just sit there, basically. Anyway, so I don't think the CBS interview went down very well. Harry and Meghan, are constantly accused of the ones doing the bullying. Never mind, cyberbullying affecting other people and them coming in and being the saviors and the heroes. They are the ones doing the bullying to Harry's family. They are the ones doing the bullying to Thomas Markle and Meghan's father's side of the family. They are the big, massive bullies, not anyone else. If anyone deserves to be silenced, of course, it's Harry and Meghan. So, did Eric Trump say anything else? I don't necessarily think so. Oh, hang on. The former president's second son told GB News during a trip to the Trump International Golf Links in Scotland that his father is a strong ally of the UK, which is what I said at the top of this video, and gave his real feelings about Harry and Meghan. You can happily have those two, referring to Meghan and Harry. We might not want them anymore. It feels like they're on an island of their own, he said. Well, we don't want them either, Eric. You can keep. It's like they're like hot potatoes. You wanted to keep passing them on. Nobody wants them because they're problematic and they are trouble. Well, Eric, you can keep them for a little bit longer. You can always have bad actors in everything, he said. You can have spoiled apples in every orchard. Oh, orchard, is that a reference to a Riviera orchard, American Riviera orchard, Arrow, of which we've seen nothing of since? I mean, who launches a product, seriously? Well, who launches a brand without an actual product and then teases people with a product that you can't even buy, that's not even been, what is it, FDA approved? It's not even got a list of ingredients. The labels are peeling off. It looks like it's been squished by Archie and Lily's toes. You know, maybe it's all handmade, and maybe it's Archie, Prince and Princess squished. They've all been in there. Harry, Meghan, Archie, Lilibet, shoes off, bunions out, warts and verrucas. They've all been, you know, stomping around in a big playpen full of a big paddling pool playpen full of jam. There they are. It's been royally squished and then sent off to all of her influencer friends. We are eagerly awaiting the Netflix collaboration with her American Riviera orchard brand, or whatever word salad it is. And we can't wait to see what she's trying to flog. She's basically trying to turn Netflix into one big infomercial, isn't she? She wants to turn it into QVC. Buy my jam, buy my yams, buy my dog biscuits. I mean, dog biscuits, seriously. Anyway, Eric said his father loves the UK, which is what I said, and added the royal family ought to be protected. Well, I do believe they should be protected from Harry and Meghan. He said, my mom, Ivana, knew so many of them. Oh, I loved Ivana Trump. The hair, the glitz, the glamour. Oh, I loved it. Loved her. Knew so many of them for years and had a great relationship with Diana, he said. It's a sacred institution. It is indeed, and needs protecting. The institution of the royal family is beautiful and is admired by many Americans. Hear, hear. If you admire the royal family, do let me know in the comments. And that should be protected. So yes, as I've said, Donald Trump has been a fierce critic of Harry and Meghan over the years. Oh my goodness. So, yes, I just think that Harry and Meghan need to just stop. They just need to stop. They need to just get on with things quietly. Going back, this is everything's kind of tying back in today because look at Beatrice and Eugenie. They quietly get on with things, even to a certain extent. Zara and Mike, although they are more in the public eye in terms of promotions and things, they just get on with it. They don't make their money by harpooning their family. There's a line, and they know where that line is. Harry and Meghan are just full of spite and retribution, and that ultimately is not very marketable. Meghan in the CBS interview sort of, I suppose, was threatening that she's got more to say, more to tell. I mean, and you know what? The world will lap it up because we all want to know the scandal of what's going on. We're tired, we're sick, we're fed up of it. But at the same time, if it's there, if it's offered on a platter, remove the cloche, we will read it, we will consume it. I mean, I didn't read Spare, and I didn't watch the Netflix documentary. It makes me feel sick to the stomach, it really does. But it will be there, it will come out in sound bites, it will come out in quotes, in press, which I did read. And quite frankly, I got the gist of what was being said and done, and it did not make me happy. People say, well, when did you suddenly, realize and come to your senses about Harry and Meghan? I'm like, well, they did it themselves. What they say, what they do, their words, their deeds, their actions affect people's opinions of them, including myself. My own opinion of them has changed over the years because of what they've done and what they are continuing to do. It's despicable. It really is. So yes, going back to sort of Princess Eugenie, the way that they conduct themselves, Harry and Meghan could have left and done the same thing. They could have just got on quietly with business deals, endorsements, fine, fair enough. They weren't able to use their royal HRHs, which they still have. I mean, I keep saying this over and over again because I still get comments saying but it was removed from the royal website. That means they don't have it anymore. They do. They are still HRH. They most definitely are. They just are not using it for work occasions. And of course, when the palace finally got round to updating the website, it's been taking a long time to update all of the pages to reflect the change of monarch, for example. They finally got around to updating the HRH on it, so they're not using it. They can still use it, and they do still use it in legal documents, but they cannot for work purposes, which they are still adhering to at the moment. Will the day come when they throw caution to the wind and really challenge King Charles and William, and actually start to use it again? I'm waiting for that day because I would love to see the response from the palace. Yes. And I do think that Harry wants back in the UK. I think Meghan can't stand the UK because Meghan can't get what she wants from the UK. Meghan is not universally loved in the UK. Well, they've moved to a country where she still isn't universally loved by the country. Maybe by Kamala Harris, perhaps. But anyway, let's move on and see what Kamala Harris has sort of said, I suppose, over the years about her. They like to blow smoke up each other's backsides, don't they? I think I have a tweet um, from October 2019 from Kamala Harris. This is incredibly important. We must remember that it's a sign of strength to show emotion. Of course, referring to when Meghan released that clip of her dealing with negative things in the press. And then she said when was it? June the 5th, 2020, the only wrong thing to say is to say nothing. Thank you, Meghan, for this powerful statement. Oh my goodness. The actress learned her lines well. I mean, there's a big crossover, I suppose, between. Remember the stage play, the theatre, and the movie Evita? I mean, it's very much, the actress learned her lines well. A lot of the songs from Evita, you can actually sort of spin a little bit, sort of, it almost echoes and mirrors Meghan, if you like. Anyway, I'm not going to read all the gushing comments that Kamala's made. Kamala is a Meghan lover, and I think they both like to blow smoke up each other's backsides, don't they? It's like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I don't think that Meghan will ever. Will she go into politics? I don't think she will, um, because I think she wants to make her own money and living. I don't know what she'll do if when American Riviera Orchard completely flops. I don't know what her backup plan is. Is it to go and tell Harry to release the extra 400 pages of Spare, which will sell? It will sell. People will be interested. It will be consumed, but in the wrong way. It doesn't build good PR. There's only so much he can tell. There's a cut-off point. And once he reaches that, once there is complete saturation, he won't be able to make any more money from it. She's threatening her story. So, and it's a bit of it's a thinly veiled threat. And I don't think that you should thinly veil threat the royal family because they have the upper hand. They have everything, and Harry and Meghan are. It's like chickens in the Montecito chicken coop. They are scratting around for scraps, aren't they, my loves? And they're not doing a very good job of it, I have to say. So yes, that's what I think about Harry and Meghan at the moment. And with regards to what Eric Trump said, they need to look out, because if Donald Trump does become president again, they are going to have a pretty bumpy 4 years. Let's put it that way. Right, my next story. If you may have been living under a rock, but if you haven't, then you will know that the UK is going through a little bit of a turbulent time with things that are going on. I'm not going to say the word because you have to be careful with what you say on YouTube, but King Charles has asked for daily updates as lots more demonstrations, up to 100, have been planned. So let's go to the Sussex supporters, Omid Scobie, and all of that gang. They have been delighting. Again, this is what I said. They delight in other people's troubles and trauma, don't they? Even if it's the troubles and traumas of the people that they say that they pertain to support. They just want trouble and drama. The UK is going through a turbulent time. There was, thankfully, what was an isolated incident that has caused all of the things that have been. I've got to be very careful what I say, my loves. So, yeah, think it's an isolated. The last time we had this kind of trouble was, I think, 2011. It's a long time since we've had this level of trouble, and other countries have. I mean, France is always popping off with people literally bearing their pitchforks. And we've had what happened at Capitol Hill in the US, and countries have upsets from time to time. Thankfully, in the UK, we are generally a very safe country. And I know there have been advisories put out by other countries warning people against travelling to the UK during this time. But believe me, in a few weeks it'll all blow over and we'll all go back to being completely normal. Where I am, I mean, you can walk. There's nothing going on. There really isn't. It's isolated pockets of incidents, and I have to say, the people that are causing the trouble, there are more people anti that going out than the people that are causing the trouble. So I think there has been a massive mountain being made. It's nowhere near like what's being put in the media. It's a few, back to use the words of Eric Trump. There's some bad apples that are kind of spoiling it for the rest. It's an isolated. It's incidents off the back of an isolated incident. I've got to be very careful what I say. But the Sussex squad are delighting, saying, "Oh, Meghan was right to move because all this could happen." No, 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 no. This is after certain people are unhappy with certain people, and it's nothing to do with Meghan. Let's put it that way. If people were unhappy with Meghan, then she would have been, held aloft by pitchforks and marched to the tower, and off with her head and all that business. No, this is completely different. You cannot justify Meghan and Harry's behaviour against what is going on currently here in the UK. It is not comparable. And as I've said, other countries have their incidents. So, this is the time for us to have ours, I suppose. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. So please let me know in the comment section below what you think. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit that bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, to you all, and goodbye.